While Michael Cohen will be spending time behind bars, prosecutors let the National Enquirer's parent company, AMI, off the legal hook after executives admitted having lied about a $150,000 payment to Karen McDougal, the former Playboy model. McDougal talked about that months ago with CNN.
You're saying AMI suddenly came back to you with interest in the story?
Well, to Keith, yes, to us for the story, yeah.
Why do you think it was that it was after Donald Trump was the Republican nominee that they came back?
They wanted to squash the story.
American Media Inc., headed by Trump's close pal David Pecker, had been telling reporters, including me, that it couldn't corroborate McDougal's account of a decade-old affair with Donald Trump and paid her for cover shots and fitness columns. But Pecker and his firm, in exchange for immunity, now say they acted in concert with Trump's campaign to buy and bury McDougal's story. Jim, I'm told that AMI didn't take this all that seriously at first, then had to face reality, then got squeezed by the Southern District of New York, and ultimately made the plea that really saved the company, because the company could have been indicted. Mm-hmm. How much damage is there to David Pecker, to AMI, to the National Enquirer for admitting conspiring or working with the Trump campaign?
Okay, as of like a couple decades ago, you would have said very little, because the National Enquirer was, you saw it in the supermarket checkout line. It was next to the magazines telling you that Elvis was a space alien, and I saw Jesus in my rutabaga, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then they did the John Edwards story, and everyone kind of scoffed at it, and the John Edwards story turned out to be more or less accurate. So there was a little bit of, oh wait, maybe you got to take the National Enquirer a little more seriously. Maybe they do chase stories.
Yeah, same thing with Tiger Woods and a couple other stories.
I think you can now say, based on this, no, you should not put that much faith in what you see in the National Enquirer. It is actually anti-journalism. It's the one place you can go to where you could a publication where we know you will not read stories if rich and powerful people decide to reach out and offer a check and say, no, we can't have this story out there. They are effectively for sale, and that's not really what journalism is.
Well, that sounds like that's for sale to anybody, but clearly the friendship between Donald Trump and David Pecker. I
For sale to rich, powerful friends of the publisher.
Rolled his eyes. Okay. So it sounds funny to say a supermarket tabloid that practices checkbook journalism, but did, as Jim says, the John Edwards story about his campaign mistress and his love child, which ended up in an unsuccessful prosecution of the former presidential candidate. I take the Enquirer seriously in those kinds of stories. But can the Enquirer rebuild trust with its readers, or is it sort of tainted forever now?
I mean, I don't know what kind of trust the Enquirer ever really had with his readers. I guess there are some people who do believe that space aliens and, whatever else they put on their headquarters. But it beat the rest
of the media on the Edwards story. He denied it for months.
But it did, and there have been a handful of stories that you just pointed out that the Enquirer has broken, and of course the John Edwards story was one of the most notorious and probably the most well-sourced story, which really kind of, made you rethink, how do we consider the National Enquirer? Yeah. But look, I don't know. Again, I don't really know what trust they ever had with their viewers or with their readers. I'm sure that there were plenty of people who want to buy it because it's juicy and fun and it costs $1.50 or whatever.
Okay, fair enough. Let me move on. So the main media angle on this is that this implicates Trump because it's not just Michael Cohen saying these things about the hush money payments. It's his pals at the Enquirer. Who's saying, who are now, to save their own skins, are saying, yeah, he knew about and was involved in, he was in the room when we talked about Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels.
Yeah, I think it's very revealing that both with this, the Stormy Daniels argument, the defense is, look, this is not illegal. It looks terrible. It's extraordinarily unethical. You should not trust us as far as you can throw us, but it's not illegal. Possibly accurate. I'm not a prosecutor. I know different prosecutors will disagree on that. It is worth noting the jury did not come back with John Edwards, nailing him for when he used money from one of his wealthy donors. It wasn't his own money. It was a wealthy backer came along and said, okay, I'll take care of this. I'll throw money around to make sure the problem goes away. Couldn't get a prosecution, couldn't get a successful conviction.
Right. Now, look, the two are not directly comparable. And by the way, Edwards did this while he was a presidential candidate. Trump, this was 2006 when he was a celebrity businessman. But, of course, the business about the cover-up, alleged cover-up, is now. So the new thing here is that Cohen testified that he was going to reimburse the Enquirer for the $125,000, he says, for the McDougal payment, but with a bogus fee for advisory services. So I must say, that doesn't, when you get into the dirty details, it doesn't sound like a news operation. It sounds like a bunch of people doing Donald Trump's bidding.
Yeah, catch and kill is what it's called, right?
Right.
Where you pay for a story to kill the story.
Yeah, but that practice in the tabloid world didn't originate with Donald Trump.
Yeah, no, it didn't. It didn't. But the issue here, of course, is that this could be a campaign finance violation, because if the story had come out, it would have inevitably influenced the voters' decision on whether or not to support Donald Trump, or at least some of the voters' decisions, maybe. But at the same time, this is a very hard thing to prove, and I think that's, you know, is this illegal? Is this legal? That is what's hard to prove. But the optics look terrible. I mean, this is the President of the United States who, as a candidate, had his cronies paying off tabloids to kill stories that would have negatively influenced him.
All right, we can debate the legal implications endlessly, but I think the optics look terrible is a fair summary at this point. Adrian Elrod, Jim Garrity, great to see you this Sunday.